Today we are smoking up a brisket point to make some awesome pastrami sandwiches. So no further ado, let's get into the recipe. To start off, we're going to need 1 cup of coarse kosher salt, 3 bay leaves, 1 tablespoon of black peppercorn, 3 dried chilies, 10 cloves, 3 crushed garlic cloves, 1 stick of cinnamon, 1 pack of pickling spice, but if you can't find this, you can just use 1 tablespoon of mustard seed and 1 tablespoon of coriander. We will need 4 quarts of water for this, but we're going to be starting off with 2. We're going to place that in a pot, and the other 2 quarts, we want that in the freezer getting ice cold. Now, just add in all of your ingredients, and we're going to bring this to a boil. Now, this recipe is intended for a whole brisket. I did corned beef with 1/2 of this and pastrami with the other half. So if you're only doing 1, just go ahead and reduce this by half. Once the water is boiling, we're gonna let that cook for about 10 to 15 minutes just to marry all those flavors. Then we're gonna turn it off and let it come to room temperature. And then once it's room temperature, we're going to be adding in that ice cold water that we had in the freezer. Now that our brine is completely cooled, we're gonna be adding in our point into a 2.5 gallon Ziploc bag. Now we're gonna let this brine for about 10 days. That's how long it took, but you could do 7 to 10 days depending on your time schedule. So I actually did a whole brisket. I have corned beef on one end and pastrami on the other. So we're gonna let those just brine and flip them every 2 days. After the point has brine for 10 days, we're gonna go ahead and take it out of the bag and we're gonna wash off all the spices along with all the sodium water that's all around it. Try to get as much as you can, but it doesn't have to be perfect. Now we're gonna be taking 3 tablespoons of coriander and we're gonna grind it all up, and we're gonna make just a simple little rub. No salt, it's just gonna be 3 tablespoons of coriander and 3 tablespoons of coarse black pepper. Using mustard as a binder, we're gonna go ahead and squirt just a little bit on there and slather it all over our brisket. Now we're just gonna give it a nice good coating of that coriander and black pepper. You wanna make sure you get a good coating because you wanna be able to get a nice bark out of it. Now go ahead and do that on both sides and get it ready for the smoker. Today we're going to be using the Pit Boss pellet grill. Now this thing is set to 350 degrees. We're doing hot and fast. I don't have time today to be waiting on a brisket. So since I'm going hot and fast, I'm going to be bringing out the probes. That way we can monitor the temperature straight from the get. So let that brisket cook for a good hour and then check to see if the bark is set. Once it's set, then we're going to be spraying every 30 minutes. That way that bark don't get too crispy on us. Once the internal temperature hits 165 degrees, we're gonna go ahead and wrap our brisket. You can wrap however method you want. I've just been finding doing it like this is a lot easier on the cleanup and everything. Plus I get to keep my probe in there without having to mess with butcher paper and all that stuff. So go ahead and wrap it up. Now we're gonna let this cook to an internal temperature of 203 degrees. Once it hits that temperature, we're gonna go ahead and remove the brisket. This is a personal preference. All I do with my briskets, and I've done this on my last probably 10 briskets, is just remove them from the grill, put them on a cutting board, and cover them with towels. I'll let this sit for about 1.5 to 3 hours depending on how big the brisket is. Since I'm making pastrami sandwiches, I'm actually going to be removing the point from the flat. So go ahead and make a little cut, see where the seam's at, and then once you identify where the seam of the fat is, go ahead and slice off the point off of your flat. For the flat, identify which way the grains are going and cut against the grain. Now, you can cut this as thick or as thin as you like. But I do have to say, the point was so juicy, everything was nice and tender. As you can see, I'm just slicing away on this and it's just really easy to cut through. Now to build our sandwich, very simple. There's a local deli here that I love getting pastrami sandwiches from, and this is how they do it. Get you some dark rye bread, slather some mustard on there, and pile on some of that wonderful meat that we just cooked up. Then all you gotta do is just top it with some baby Swiss cheese and some pickles, and our pastrami sandwich is done. Oh yeah, look at this. It's gonna be yummy, huh? This is my little one, Jasmine. She loves brisket, so when I told her I was cooking up a brisket, but I was actually gonna make sandwiches out of it, She was like, give me some. So, cheers, baby.
Good.
Pretty good, huh? I told you the pickles aren't too bad. Pretty good. There's a winner right here. So what do you think about it?
It's good.
How's the flavor? Here, try the meat. Here, watch, try the meat. You love brisket, huh? Yeah, never fails. She loves it. If you're new to my channel, consider hitting the subscribe button. Now we can see future videos just like this. As always, I'll leave the link in the video description and in the comment section so that way you can go to my website, cookingwithkirby.com, to get the full printable recipe. And also, my website is very straightforward. You don't get hit with a bunch of ads or just crazy nonsense. It's straight to the point, gives you all the information you need, and it even has my video out there so that way you can go step by step as you read through the recipe. Now, I have these recipes. They're really good. You should try them out. Now, y'all be beautiful and take care.